Hi guys, so today's Freeform Friday is kind of different for my channel, but I used to do things like this on my old channel all the time, and I do have a playlist already of soap making that I can link in the description box, and you guys can check those out. I re-uploaded them here a long time ago, so they only have a couple hundred views, but it's fun stuff. So if I have any links in the description box, it will be basically for the mica powders that I'll be using here. Oh, I'm sorry. These were sent originally from Arteza free of charge, and so the link I have to these will be an affiliate link, which means I will make a small commission if you were to buy these mica powders. But basically I just want to show you how to kind of have fun with soap. So that's one of the items I'll be using. But so for soap making, this is just a quick melt and pour, nothing fancy. You can find it at, Michael's, the soap base. I think even Walmart sells it, Joann's, all these different places online, obviously. I know there's companies dedicated just to that, but for me, it's just the cheap stuff you can find. So I have different types. I have this avocado cucumber soap that I've never used. It looks like it came from Hobby Lobby. I have this big old thing here. The double butter glycerin soap, and obviously this is a white soap. Sometimes what happens is whenever there's a coupon or if it's on sale, that's when I'll go and jump and buy a whole bunch of it. I have this big huge tub from Art Minds, and all this stuff was in my garage, and I knew exactly where it is. I haven't actually looked at this before, or at least recently, to see. I think it's clear. Yes. Oh, it's a big huge vat of clear soap, and that's what I wanted today because I want to use the mica powders. I want it to really show up. So I have this thing. I don't know how I'm going to cut into it, but that will be fun. I guess I'll just gouge at it. So again, you can find this stuff anywhere. I'm just trying to show you some of the supplies that you would basically need. And then I have a ton of molds. Now, you don't have to have all these things. There's simple molds like these little guys. You can pour them into silicone baking cups, like little cupcake cups. If you want to make like a cupcake looking soap, that's a whole other process, but you can use the base and then you have to build up the top with a different process of how you make the soap look fluffy. But I have these little guys, and these also came with these stamps that you put in here, so when you pour the soap has the cool like thing stamped into it. Stuff like that. All these different molds. These make like just a little animals, just really cute little frogs and little turtles. Hearts, which I might use today. These are just regular soap, kind of rounded. Actually, I'm going to start off with this one, I think. This makes a big soap though, but I think I'm going to start with these. Well, this one's kind of fun. This one has different shapes. I think this came from a kit from Michael's, and I actually have two because they were on clearance, so I bought them both, So there's two in here, and maybe I'll use this one. I don't want to make the biggest soap. These are huge. I remember that. This is from Hobby Lobby, this mold. So maybe this, I have this rectangular shape. I love this for a certain reason, and I'll show you that hopefully today too. I don't know how quickly we'll get through all this. There's, you want to scent your items, you want to color them. So I have this whole like scent kit. I don't even know. On the top it has the flavors or the scent names. These are essential oils. Essential oils cost a little more than just like your basic soap scents like these. Like these that you would find at, these are from Hobby Lobby. Oh, they smell so good. But these are not essential oils, so they're a little cheaper, and then it's just something you just add in. But oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do this one. It smells so good. Sweet pea, and this one's Japanese lotus blossom. So I have tons of them. And then you want colorants. Of course, your mica will give you some color. These are actual colorants. Look like one of them opened on me, like this one, because it looks like it's all gone. But I still have this pink and a lime color. I have tons of these. There's not the only ones. I'm just showing you some of the basic things you would need. Again, I have just lots of colors. I kept them all in the same spot, so I have that bag in here with me. I actually have like a white colorant, which is interesting because it's hard to make something white, and black. A lot of times people use black ash, but that's a whole other video. We're gonna do something basic here. So I'm just showing you some of the basic supplies. Again, you don't need everything or all of this at all. Here's another soap mold that's like just different shapes. These are a little bit more like the little soaps you might put in your bathroom because they're kind of big enough to wash your hands with, but they're cute, right? So like little decorative soaps. Another Victorian looking soap, which is really pretty. So you need cutting tools, which for me is usually just a knife, but since I have these, I'll probably use these. But these are soap slicers. And of course you can get fancier with this. I just have a serrated one and a flat one. These are from Michael's. I'm just showing you things. You don't know I need all these things, okay? So the basic thing you need is the melt and pour soap, something to color with, something to scent it. And you don't even need that if you don't want to, but something to scent it, and something to put it in, right? So in one of my videos I used just a loaf mold that I had bought cheap, you know, just like a regular loaf pan, and you could use that. I did have a really nice set that makes mini loaves that is a silicone set that I wanted to use, but I couldn't find it, so just know it doesn't have to be anything special. You do need, like, if you're gonna do any kind of layering, some kind of spray bottle. I have this cool one, but with alcohol in it. I'm gonna put some alcohol in it because there's none in there right now. You want, you know, a high percentage alcohol, probably 70 or greater. But, you know, just anything, especially when you're first starting out, just try it with whatever alcohol you have at home. It's fine, but rubbing alcohol, right? So I'm gonna get some of that in there, but you do want it in a spray bottle because you want it to spray. And then again, a receptacle. So I have all these fancy things like from Michael's, like I've never even used. I have this mold that makes a star, this mold that makes a heart, like a loaf, and then you put them inside your soap, you lay them down, and so when you slice it, you'll see the little hearts and things. So I'm gonna show you something cool to do that you don't need these guys, but I always have this shredder grater from Dollar Tree, and I shred up pieces of soap, and you'll see that in just a minute. And you know, even things like this, like these ice cube trays from IKEA or ice cube trays you find at the Dollar Tree, like these will be cool because they'll put like this little rod shape in there or put these little cubes in there. So just, you know, you can think outside the box. Basically any silicone mold that you want to use for this would be great. And then of course you need something to melt these things in, and you need a microwave basically because you microwave them. I normally keep a set of measuring tools like from the Dollar Tree, and that's what I measure in, and I actually mix my colors in a bowl from the Dollar Tree. I could not find those, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the regular things I would use here in my house, glass items, and then just wash them. But it's better if you had something that's not as important to you, you know what I'm saying? Like I keep those things to themselves and I only use those for soap making. And today if I do make a loaf soap, I'm gonna start off simple. I'm going to use this thing, and when I found it in the garage, oh, guess what? I have another serrated cutter. I don't know why. This holds a lot of soap. That's my only issue. I'm like, I don't want to make this much soap. So if there's a way that I can, I don't know. Yeah. It has to be pretty much this big, and it probably has like this is 3 pounds capacity, so that's a lot of soap. We'll see about that. But this is the kind of thing I would like to make loaf soaps in. Alright, so we're gonna get started with something super easy, just a basic, simple, fun thing to do, and I'll get some of those things together and then we'll work on it. Okay, so you start with your soap, whatever soap you have. I just have these little chunks of white soap I'm gonna use. And basically, you're gonna just melt them like, here it says, you know, heat desired amount and microwave for 30 seconds on high and then 10 seconds after that. So I'm gonna put it in for 30 seconds, see what happens, and start mixing it. And normally I just use like disposable spoons and stuff like that. So I will be back. I'm gonna put this in the microwave, 30 seconds, give it a move. Even if it doesn't look like it's melting, just like the little melt wafers that you use for Wilton wafers. It doesn't look like it's melting, but just move it around anyway, okay? Because you don't want it to just sit there and always be in the same hot spot or whatever, so you want to give it some movement. So 30 seconds, I'm going to mix it a little bit with a disposable spoon, or this fork, that works too. And then, you know, 10, 20 seconds at a time after that until it melts down, and I'll be right back. This only took 50 seconds to melt, and if there's a chunk like this chunk, I rather sit here and kind of swirl it around than continue heating everything, because you see how liquid this is? So the melting point that you really want on here is like 125, so it'll be like degrees, right? So you can take the temperature, you know, take the temperature. I don't ever do that. If you're trying to mix a couple of colors and you don't want them to completely mix, you want it to be like around 105, a little bit cooler, a little bit thicker, because you see how thin this is? Okay, so that's just because I'm pouring it, and it doesn't matter, you know? So as I'm mixing this, I'm gonna get a little scent going in here, and I think I really liked, well, for this one, let's do Japanese lotus blossom. That's the only bummer about these from Hobby Lobby. I think once I open this, I'm not going to know what scent it is unless I just smell it and like it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's Japanese lotus blossom. So for about a pound of soap, you want to use a tablespoon. This is not a pound of soap. It was probably maybe a quarter pound, if even that. But I just eyeball it and used it. Ooh, it almost flew out. So this is why I don't, for using these things is why I don't like using my reusable kitchen items. I rather use something that's dedicated just to soap making. Especially if you're making your own soap, obviously you're using all these funky things. I'm not saying it should damage you, but I don't like reusing kitchen stuff for this, but I think that's pretty good. It smells pretty good. I don't know how much soap this is gonna make, to be honest, so let's see. I'm gonna do one of these just to give you an idea of how it's fun to make some little soap with little mica in there, and it'll just be really cool and easy. So I just have that ready to go. I should have probably already pulled out my little micas. Where's my spoon? Oh, I thought I had my little mica spoon here. It's probably at my counter. Okay, well then I'm just gonna eyeball this. So we're gonna do some amethyst purple. And again, if I had my little spoon, I would be dipping in here and getting a little bit. Actually, you know what I can use? I gotta start moving because my soap is gonna start drying up. It starts making a skin, which isn't the biggest deal, but I'm in my kitchen. I have other tools I can use, so I'm just gonna get this. You don't need to put too much, but I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. So I put a little purple. How about a little bit of this neon kind of lettuce green? That looks pretty. Purple, green, and that should be enough, but let's go for an orange. Let's make this Halloween looking. And hopefully you can see all I'm doing is just dipping in here and just patting it in there. Hopefully these colors, they shouldn't come together to make brown, but you never know. Okay, that's enough. That's probably more than enough. And then I'm gonna take my little spray bottle and we're gonna kind of activate these. So I just put a little, this is very fine alcohol. There we go. I don't know, we didn't put that much, but I had to put enough to get this stuff moving. And then we're gonna bring back this guy who is already setting up on me. Oh my gosh. Let me put this back in the microwave for about 10 seconds. I'll be right back. To reheat, but I'd rather not reheat it after the oil's in there, but that's okay. All right. So there goes that. And I think it's probably enough to make one bar, to be honest. And I'm just gonna kind of pour it around so that little mica can do its thing. Oh, what a bummer. Yeah, it was enough to make one. So again, like I said, that was about, I would say, a quarter pound-ish of this stuff. I'm going to do one more thing with this. I'm going to melt it down for a second and I'll be right back. I've done this in years. Before I do that, real quick, I'm just going to spray the back of this with some alcohol so that it gets rid of whatever bubbles might be on top, okay? I will be right back. As I said, I'm going to melt this down. I want to make some things that I'm going to use as inclusions later, so I'm just going to take some of this pink. I don't even care. I'm just going to drop this in here real quick. And mix that around. As you can see, I could have hit the other one a little bit longer. And then I'm just going to drop this in here just because I'm going to use it later. I'm going to cut it up in chunks, okay? So I'm going to clean this up because as you can see, this is why I don't like using my own. I need to get rid of all of this. I'm going to wash this up, let this stuff settle. Again, if you're just making a bar, for this one I was going to cut it up so it doesn't matter, but just spray it. And I don't know if you can see the little bubbles that were there, just kind of, they go away. All right, I'm going to let this stuff set up and clean this up, and I'll be right back. While this is setting up, I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to show you real quickly though, kind of, if I turn this over, you can kind of see what it's doing. The mica. Hopefully you can kind of see that. It's pretty cool. Obviously this little chunk I can see it's still a little bit dry, so I probably should hit it a little bit more with alcohol, but I'm going to put it to the side. I do not have a plan. I don't even know what I'm doing right now, to be honest, but I do have my little heart mold and I love doing this. I've done it before in the past, like I said, in that playlist. You can check that out if you want, but what I'll do is I'll add some mica to this to make it a little bit different, I suppose, this time. So I'll have that. I'll remind you, this is just soap, so it doesn't really have to be completely cleaned out, and it washes out because it's soap. So, okay, so I have that, and I'm gonna use, like, this soap came from a kit. And just so you know, they make it like this so that they can put it inside a kit easy, like those kits that you see from Art Minds, like at Michael's. So I'm just going to use this one because I want to make my little hearts opaque. And then we'll start working with some clear soap in just a minute. But let me open this. Oh, you know what? And that reminds me, I have this cheese board I got a long time ago in like a Christmas kit. And this is basically what I use to cut things up with. Let me back up a little bit. I don't know how far I can go without, about that far. So I have this thing, and that's usually what I use to cut things on, just so I don't have to, I don't know, sometimes you have to cut your soaps, and I have it on here. That's how I do it. For this one, isn't the biggest deal, and also you can just chop into this. You can just break it with your hands because it's so thin, but usually the chunks are bigger so it's not as easy to break up like this. I just want to make a few hearts, so and then whatever's left over I'll put in that other thing. So again, 30 seconds and then 10 seconds at a time. That last batch only took 50 seconds to melt, so that's really fast. So I will be right back once that's melted. Okay, I'm doing it again. I should have had this ready. Okay, this is nice and ready to go. Actually, right now I should go ahead and, you know, I found this oxide dye black and I'm like, this might be cool, but let's try it. Let's try it. See what happens. Oh, weird. What the heck? You know what? Do I need to mix this? Let me shake this up a little bit, or is that just how it is? That's odd. I've never used this. I wonder if it's supposed to be reacting, but you know what? Maybe not with this kind of soap. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I put all the binder in there basically is what I poured in. Ooh, we're gonna need a lot of this. I'm not gonna put a scent on this one because, to be honest, it worked out pretty well. And I'm going to bet that this probably gets darker as you wait, but let me see what it says on here. Liquid dyes are very concentrated, should be used sparingly. Dyes can combine to make other colors. Separation is normal. Shake well before using. Okay. But that is very gray, so I'm pretty much gonna have to use this whole thing. Oh well, you know what? Maybe gray is as dark as I'm going to go with this one. And then, where's my black powder? Charcoal gray, space gray, laurel green. I'm just going to use this one because I'm going to run out of time. This is going to start melting or hardening. So I'm going to take this charcoal gray. I used this one recently. Ooh. Just to add a little something. Again, same thing, but I want kind of a lot. And I don't know how many of these that will make, but I'm assuming quite a few. And this time I'm going to make sure that this really activates the stuff. Alright. Yeah, I'm just going to pour this. Oh, that was a little too much. I normally do perfect pours, you guys. That one flooded in quite a bit. Okay. So I'm making these little hearts because I want to put them on top of the loaf we make. So hopefully you guys will see what I mean by that when we get there. I have enough for 2 more. So I'll go ahead and pour in the 2 more, just like you saw what I did, but I'm going to go spray the back of those, get rid of those little things. I'm going to make 2 more and put these to the side to dry, okay, or to firm up. One, this is still kind of warm and this is not the ideal time to pop this out, but I'm going to pop this guy out because I have to get moving. Otherwise I hear my kids moving around upstairs. I'm going to pop this one out. Ah. What's nice about these kind of molds is that they will make, just like if you're using, playing with, what's this stuff called? Resin, it'll be shiny. Hope you can see that. See how shiny? Oh, it's so pretty. And if you start touching it, it's going to have fingerprints, just so you know. So you don't really want to touch it too much. Let me grab my cutting board. So what I'm going to do is actually get a different knife because this one's like serrated. I don't like the way that ends up looking. Actually, you know what? Yeah, no. So I'm going to show you a couple things you can do with this. So what I like to do with these little extra blocks, and that's kind of why I make them with the leftover things, I come in here and get my grater and grate it. And now I have like little inclusions I can put into a soap that's like grated up, these little pieces. All those little chunks, right? We can throw them in and it'll be fun. And then I like to also, and that's why I reserve this just for soap making. I also like to then just cut up the chunks. Now these are both the same color. I try to, you know, have some pink, some purple, or whatever colors you want, obviously. But I just cut these up in pieces, and then these pieces I will include in a soap design. And that's what we're gonna do right now. Just some clear soap with a little bit of color, and then we're gonna throw some of these chunks in. Again, you can make them shapes like that star thing. I could have poured it into that star mold and had star pieces, or however you wanna do it. Still very warm. I'm gonna leave that for a second, and what I'm gonna do is get some clear soap in here. I only wanna make a little bit, so I'm gonna grab this guy, and literally we're gonna make one bar in the same thing that we did the other bars in. So I'll probably use like these 3 pieces right here, these 3 sections. And again, 30 seconds, give it a mix in the microwave, another 10 seconds, give it a mix, 10 seconds until it's nice and melted. I started looking around what I need to clean up and do other things. I totally forgot, and I was like, oh no, it's been almost a minute. So this completely melted and started foaming up, which is not the best thing, but that's okay. Actually, I could spray that and get that down. So I'm gonna do a little bit of mica powder, and this one is Pearl White. And I suppose we should scent it, but I mean, it has a nice pleasant scent already. It just smells like soap. But, and maybe I didn't mention at the beginning. Again, I just buy melt and pour soaps. I don't know how much of this I want to put in. That's probably too much, to be honest. But we'll just do that. They're mostly glycerin based, or like I said, I have an avocado one, I had a goat's milk one. I mean, whatever it is, unless you're making your own soaps. Yeah, I can see that that was quite a bit. I'm not going to color this one because that is going to be the color. And I think I'm going to go with maybe... Actually, let's just leave it like this. Because that was overkill on the mica. I don't know if you can see. So probably even less than that would be good. I don't know if you can tell. That's very shimmery in there. Alright, let's bring this guy back. And what I'm going to do is spray these all with alcohol, because it helps get them in there. And then hopefully you guys can see, I'm going to focus on that right there. Pour some of this down. So pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some in, even though they're going to sink. And you don't want it too hot, because you also don't want it to start melting your soap. So I'm going to wait a few seconds here. I'm going to give it another spray though. I'm just going to wait a little bit, kind of keep this mixing. You don't want to just let it sit there, because it will get a skin like in 20 seconds. I'm not kidding, this stuff starts setting up pretty quick. So I'm going to keep mixing this while I'm letting this kind of sit for a little bit. And again, I'm going to give it like a good 30 seconds or so to sit, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to give it a spray, give these guys a spray, and I've just been kind of working with this whole time. And I'm just going to put in a couple more of these. This is a very small thing, so I don't want to put too much. And again, it's just for funsies. Just throw them in there. And I'm going to top them again. So it's kind of a lot of inclusions for a bar as small as this, but it's still really fun. And so I'm just going to put that there. I think that's good enough. I don't want to go too far. Now, if you want to make this a bar that has stuff on top of it, just so that the bar is sitting up instead of people looking at this bottom part, you're actually looking at this top part to be cool, then you can definitely do that. I'm just going to spray that. Just wait another minute or so, add some more little pieces on top, you know, put maybe some of this down, and add a few more pieces on top so it's like chunky on the top, and it'll be like a cool bar that has like a geode look. Well, it's not really geodes, but you know what I'm saying, like little crystals or little chunks on the top. But I'm not going to do that. So I'll save these for another day for something else, and that'll be fine. Okay, so while this next one is not ideal, I wasn't looking for making 3 pounds of soap today, but I'm going to do it. I actually have basically 3 pounds right here. I have this big bag of clear soap, pure glycerin soap from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to put in this bowl, even though I rather put it in a pitcher. I just don't have another pitcher that's big enough to hold all this. So I'm going to start melting this stuff down. Again, 30 seconds, give it a mix. I might go 40 just because it's a lot. And I'm going to split into 2. I'm going to color one color, color one another color, and we're going to try to give it a mix and see what happens. That's basically where I'm at. And then I'll put the little hearts on the top. So I'm kind of waiting for the hearts to set up too. So let me get this in the microwave. Like I said, I'll probably do 40 seconds, give it a mix, and then go every, 10 seconds, obviously, like we've been doing. We will scent it. We will scent it together, separate it out, color some this color, color some another color, and then, add our micas and all that and go from there. While that's heating up, I just made sure my mold is really tight. Again, I got this at Michael's. I don't even know how good it might be. There are better molds out there. I guess I'm going to go with pink and purple because, those are my favorite colors. We need this, and then we need to scent it, obviously. And I'm just gonna stay with the Japanese lotus blossom, I suppose. All right, I'm gonna go check on this. Okay, guys, so this stuff is super hot. I did not want to put it right on my counter because we just had this kitchen redone, and I don't know. I feel like if you put something super hot, it might crack. But so as you can see on the very top, it's already getting a skin, and that was just from coming out of the microwave. So be very gentle with your mixing because you're going to get bubbles. Like in my other bar, there's a ton of bubbles. But I do want all of this to mix down. So I'm just going to kind of, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and add in our scent. And this is 3 pounds of soap. And you're supposed to use a tablespoon per pound. So it's basically going to be this whole thing. I think. Hold on. Yep. And there goes that. Okay. Again, let's be gentle. So that's kind of why you have to keep mixing it. Well, and I'm just doing it gently. If you're like whipping it, you're going to get a lot of air bubbles. But again, that's just maybe part of the charm. I don't know. So what I'm going to do with this, and this is what's going to be difficult, is I'm going to pour some of this into this other jar. That's kind of why you want to work with pictures, but again, I'm just working with what I got, so I'm not too upset here. My goodness, that skin is building up really fast. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I don't know what's, about half. Again, I'm losing a little bit of my soap here. I'm going to take this out because I don't really... If I need it later, I'll reheat it. Okay, so let's go with purple in this one. And I am putting some of that, and now I'm going to put my pigments, which is, I'll tell you the name in just a minute, but see if that does. See how that does. Again, I'm not trying to mix it too hard because I don't want... That pigment is so awesome. As soon as it just starts like doing its thing, I just don't know how much color I want in here. Maybe a little more. Now powdered colors are actually, in my opinion, better, but again, we're going inexpensive. There's all kinds of different things you could get that would work for you. I'm trying to break up that pigment. See, there was a chunk of it. I'm going to put a little bit more pigment in here. I can see it's really pretty, but I want a little more. And I'm going to do the same thing for the pink. Just add a bunch of pink color and go with that because I need to start mixing that pink one. Okay, I'll be right back. Working a little faster. So we're waiting for this to set up. And again, you want it to be like 105-ish, the temperature. So I'm going to use the pink at the very top, I suppose, because I have less of that one. Just want to make sure I'm mixing it really nicely. And my purple could be deeper purple, to be honest. Let me add a little bit more purple to this purple. And I'm talking about purple colorant, because... But see how it filmed? The film just sets up so fast. I'm sorry, this video is going to be super long now that I think about it. I probably should have just done one project, but I'm like, let's do lots of different things. See what happens. Okay. I really need this to do its thing. I hope you can see it's already kind of sticky, a little chunky. See how it's like sticky, like gooey, and not just like liquid. That's kind of what you want, because then when you pour in the next one, it's a little bit hot, but not so hot that it just So scary. We'll see what happens. I haven't used this soap in a long time, but a better quality soap obviously works better. But we're just using, you know, the same kind of thing you would get kind of inexpensively here and there. Just gonna break that up a little bit. And you know what? Where's my poker? I normally don't do any of this kind of thing, but I'm gonna I'm gonna go get my little hearts and I will be right back. A little something else, and so I had my little hearts, and that's basically what I want to use. So I'm gonna pop them out. Just kind of mess with it a little bit until it releases. Let's go. I put these outside because it's like 60 degrees right now. It's nice and cool. And basically I'm going to pop these guys out. And hopefully you can kind of see what's going on. They have some of that mica. Pretty cool. And I'm just going to place one in each one of those little holes that I made. And it should be wet enough underneath that it'll hold it okay. And then we're going to cut them up. So after, I'm going to have to wait hours. That's why I don't know when this video is going to come out for you guys today. But for this to set up, it's going to be a while. So in those little slots that I made, I'm just going to add a little heart here and there. And I will be back. I'm going to continue spraying like that, just so that they get a good connection. And those will be the slabs of soap. So wherever I have a heart, I'll have a slab of soap cut in that area. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna set this aside to dry for hours. Like literally. Good mold. I haven't used this before, so if you want a review of this mold, it's pretty good because it didn't leak at all. But again, I tightened it pretty well. So I can feel the heat still emanating from this. So I'm gonna put that, actually I put the other ones outside, like I said. And then the colors I had used, I'm sorry, I used magenta for the pink, and I used amethyst purple for the purple. I had tried off camera because I was, you know, I told you I was gonna mix the pink. I did just the pigments by themselves, the mica, and mixed it. And I did probably a little spoonful, you know, a good amount. And it didn't really, it was pink, but it wasn't as pink as I wanted, you know. So I went ahead and added the pink coloring. So just to let you know, it might be that you might need to add more of that pink or whatever color you're using, or add a colorant to help you get that purple, the color that you want. Of course, that purple that you want is what I'm thinking. But anyway, I am going to let this set up. I'm going to go check on my other ones, and I'll be back in the next one. It'll be hours later. Oh my goodness, you guys, today's going to be a mess. My computer decided to do an upload, and I couldn't get online. I couldn't do anything. Basically, it's like, no, I'm not even reading your SD cards or whatever, so I had to let it upload, which is a bummer. But this is pretty cold. I'm not going to cut it yet, but I'm going to release it from the mold. So you really want to wait for the things to be set up and firm, because that's going to give you a nice shine, right? If I remove this and it's not ready, it's going to look like waxy and not very pretty. So you want to wait. So I'm going to unscrew these. I've never used this thing before. I don't know. Oh, wow. That came out real nicely. Oopsie. Let me unmold this side. So, I wasn't planning on reviewing this thing, but hey, it worked pretty good. Right. Oh, that looks pretty from the side. I should show you guys. Well, darn. I'll show it to you from the side in just a minute. I do not know. Okay. And then you can obviously wash this. I did soak the pans that I was using, the bowls and stuff. And your soap will become like a colloidal mess. Like, if you can't get it off there, just leave it soaking in water. And it makes a huge mess, and all I did was pick it up with my hand and throw it in the trash, so. Is this stuck to it? Okay. Oh, it smells so good. Look how pretty it is from the side, you guys. Do you see the mica in there? Oh my gosh, it came out prettier than I thought. So that soap is obviously the cheapest soap in the world, right? I can still feel it's pretty warm in my hand, actually, at the base. So I'm not gonna cut it. I'm gonna leave it on this thing for a little minute. Because it started making a skin before it really just let it stay, you know, like 110 or 115 degrees or whatever. It started making a skin, and that's like the worst thing. So get yourself a, you know, obviously to start out, if you haven't done this, get whatever you can, whatever inexpensive thing that you can practice on. But it is kind of a bummer that it was doing what it was doing. Okay, so I'm gonna take these out of the mold because I put the little extra over here, but I know these guys are ready. These guys have been ready because they're small and they're cold now and everything. So let me move this to the side. I don't want to mess that up at all. Oh goodness, I'll just move. Oh, I said I don't want to mess it up and I hit it. Anyway, let's unmold this guy. He popped right out. And look, oh my gosh, hold on. Can we see the goodness in here? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that shine. And then especially from the mica. So pretty. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. So that's really nice. Obviously I should use a little more soap. It kind of came out a little funny on top there. And let's get this guy out. Oh gosh. This guy's a little bit fuller and he's in there. I basically try to get some air in it. Is how I try to pop these. So I try to pull and finagle, you know, remove from the sides and then kind of push it from the top. I can see it's coming. It's coming. Oh my gosh, come on. That's why these aren't my favorite molds, but to be honest, if you want that shiny smoothness, you need to have one of these kind of molds. But that's gonna leave a mark next time if I use this mold. See how it kind of dented? It'll be a dent in the next soap. Look at this one. Oh, can you imagine if you had done like a little rose or like something cute? I've done it before where I put like a heart completely in there, but like a little rose soap, like those little soaps I showed you. Get that embedded in there, and then when you see all around it, you see that beautiful rose and then the pretty mica shift all around. So this one probably needed a little more time to dry. Do you see that? How it's not super shiny? It got that waxy film. That's what I was telling you. You really want to wait for your stuff to dry or to set up. That is so pretty. That mica is gorgeous. I love the way it looks. It looks like enamel, like cloisonné, like some kind of cool kind of jewelry kind of thing. So I'm gonna leave those there. I'm gonna let this set up even more. I'm so impatient. I know it's warm in the middle. How about if I start cutting it just so we can have some pictures so we can move on. We'll cut this edge over here. How about that? Okay, so I'm gonna use these guys because I have them, but if you don't have them, use a knife, a kitchen knife. The front actually looks pretty good, but normally people take a piece off of that too. So I'm gonna go ahead and just push down, straight down. Got that. Ooh, you know what, ooh, that looks so pretty. But you see how it broke off? That's not good. So let's see. Hopefully this one doesn't do that to me because obviously you want it to stay together. And usually you cut your pieces of soap to they're like an inch. I can see that this wants to come apart from that other piece. Look at that. That is a big chunk of soap. Usually you want them about an inch wide. So pretty. Alright guys, well that's what I'm going to do is just keep dividing it. This one's really big, so I'll probably cut in front of it and then cut right behind it. This one cuts really cool because it makes like little ripples. You can always just cut with that. And it makes a cool like ripple effect. But I'll have some pictures for you guys. Another Freeform Friday, something totally different, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm just going to have to use up all this soap. Alright guys, I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.